Good afternoon, everyone. So today we will start with the remaining part of Express, okay? And we'll see a code in which we can understand about all the four methods through a simple code, okay? And what are the four HTTP method which we have to cover? Get, post, put, and delete. You have idea about get and post, but also we will see it from scratch today, okay? And then your express portion will be covered and you are good to just create application at your end also by using different concepts. Just everything will be clear to you that how you are doing it and what is the purpose of doing everything. Okay, so just give me 2 minutes and then we are going to start with that. Okay, so let me just share my screen first. Okay, so that, yeah, so I think my screen is visible to all of you. Yeah, guys. So we have also covered, like, let's recap that what we have done in the previous session, then we will continue. So in the yesterday session, we have covered about the type of middlewares first. So there are 2 to 3 types of middleware, out of which two are important. One is application level, and other one was your router level. Okay, we have seen that how application level is there for throughout the application, and router level is basically executed when we hit a particular URL or hit a particular path, right? And after that, we have seen some other middlewares also, like error handling middleware. How many parameters it has? It has 4 parameters: error, request, resolve, and next. So these are those things which you have to make sure that you have an idea. Okay, that will help you a lot when you have the idea of these things. Then we have seen about express.json, that it parse JSON request bodies. Means through your post command, you are sending some data from your front end. Okay, so that we have to basically parse first. Then we will come to know about the response part. Then I have tell you about CORS, cross origin resource sharing platform. So you can have a look on it also, that it basically is do one thing, that if your front end is running on different port, your back end is running on different port, then between both of them, if you want to establish a connection, if you are accessing a request, then to make that it is secure request, it is coming from another port but it is secure. So for that we use basically this CORS part. Okay, these things we have created. Then I have told you about how middlewares basically works. So we have seen authentication middleware. Here what we were doing, that in my request body, in the header section, I was sharing a token authorization. And when we are doing so, we have to use a keyword bearer. I have already told you the example, that suppose I am the person who wants to travel through a train. So the railways government will provide me a ticket. I will purchase that ticket. Okay. And if I want to travel in that train, I am the one who wants to use the railway, but ticket is something through which they can recognize me. So same thing we were doing, that bearer is basically, suppose the bearer keyword we were using here is us, and the token after that we were sending after bearer is our ticket. So they will compare the ticket. TC will check the ticket, right? Not us. They will check the ticket. If the ticket is there, then only they will permit us to allow or to travel, right? So these things we have to make sure that we can, whenever we are providing something in headers, we have to use a bearer command. Then if you are not sending anything in the header section, then you are not allowed to be a authenticated user. After that, why we have write this line of code? Now all of you have the idea about it, that through this we were removing bearer. How we were removing bearer? Because the syntax was bearer space secret token. So it is splitting on secret and creating it as an array. So now your array has two elements. One is bearer and second one is secret token. Sorry, just a second, sorry. Yeah. So the element at first index is what you want as your token, right? So that's why secret token is stored inside this token keyword variable. Now they have matched that what is there in your token is same as the token shared here. If that is so, then you have to provide them the user of ID this and username as this. That we had already done. Then there is another middleware, request validation middleware. Now you are come to know that why we require this middleware. See, because for anything before getting the response, I have to check this small thing also. So to check these small things, we initiate a middleware. It makes our work easy. You when we were executing this through postman, right? What was happening if I am not giving the character name as per condition, it was throwing us an error that or a message that you have to uh, pick up username which have at least 4 character, okay, or at least 3 character. So this is how it helps. Then there is another error handling middleware. So nothing more, there is error handling through this next error. What they are doing, they are just passing the error to the next middleware. And you can see this is your error handling middleware because it is using 4 types of uh, parameter, right? So these are the basic things which we have to see. Now, today we will cover, let's see that what is there so that we can continue with that. Right now it is not that much. Express middleware function have access to request response and the dash object. So now you have the idea about it. They are talking about middleware functions. So they are asking about that they have the access means they can use as a parameter for request, response and next object. So these are quite basic things. Just you have to be clear with all the concepts and then you can answer these things, right? So we already know it. Now, REST API, understanding RESTful API. What is RESTful API? Let's try to understand it. REST, first of all, what is the full form of REST? Representational state transfer is an architectural style for designing networked application that has become the standard of web services. RESTful API provide a flexible, lightweight way to integrate application and enable communication between different systems. So nothing REST stands for representational state transfer. Okay, what it do, it just create a application programming interface through which you can communicate between different system. What are the core concept? Resources. Everything is a resource, like user, product, order is basically your resource. Representations, here the representational representation is resource can have multiple representation like JSON format, XML, etc. Stateless, each request contains all necessary information and uniform interface, consistent way to access, manipulate resources. So, what are the principle for REST APIs? Understand this principle is a crucial and effective RESTful API. Resource based, focus on resource rather than the action. Okay. Stateless, each request is independent and self-contained. Cacheable, uniform interface and layer system. So we will come to know with the example that what they are trying to say. So let's try to understand about this. Method, first of all, get method is there, post method is there, put method to update something and delete to delete something. Okay. Action, retrieve source, they are telling you that how a particular method works. So first of all, get method, it is basically used to retrieve resources means you do retrieve the data. Okay. Post, create a new resource, like if you want to create a new user. Okay, if you want in a backend, if you want to create a new order, then that is done through post part. Okay, so if you want to create a new resource, that is only possible through post. Put, update a resource completely. So I have told you that if you want to update a resource, then you can use put. Patch is also used to update. I will tell you the difference. See, update a resource partially. If you want to update a resource completely, then you are going to use put. If you want to if you want to update it partially, then you have to use patch. Okay, no problem. Now see, this delete means delete a resource. So get, post, put, patch and delete all works on a particular resource. What is resource? Like a user creation, a user, a book or object, any entity which is there in your database or in your backend. Okay. Now, if you want to get the information about that particular resource, then there is a get method. If you want to add a new resource, then there is post method. If you want to update completely, then there is put. If you want to update partially, then there is patch method. And if you want to delete that resource, then there is a delete method. How you can do that? First of all, you have to pass the method that I want it, then the particular path at which you are listening, at which you want to add the data. Okay, this is how these things work. So we are going to understand this bit of code. Okay, then we'll try to go to our VS Code and try to see what is happening over here. Okay, don't worry, we'll cover it. Yeah. So const express equals to require express. What we are doing here? So through common.js, we are basically importing express module. Through this line, what we are doing? Through this line, we are creating a instance of our application with the name app, so that we can use any method through this variable. We can use any type of middleware through this. So app.use, this is your middleware, built-in middleware, which is express.json. I have already told you that it parses the JSON data which you are passing in the Postman. Okay, and what is Postman? A client side tool. Okay, not server side, it is client side. For front end, you basically use that. Okay, means suppose if I have to fill a form, that data which I am giving to my front end part, same thing we are doing it through Postman. Okay, just understand it like that. Postman is not a backend tool, right? So right now we are learning about backend portion. So don't get confused. That's why we are learning Node.js and Express, and Postman is there. So Postman is a backend tool. No, Postman is a front end tool. Why we are using it? To insert some data accordingly. Because in front end also, if you are creating a registration form, then you enter your name, username, etc. Right? And that is not backend. That is something which you are giving as input. So it is come in front end portion, and that's why your Postman is basically a front end tool. Okay, now let's understand what they are doing here. They have created a in-memory array. Right now we are not using any database, so they have created in-memory array. What this array consists? This array consists two things. First one, ID1, name John Doe, email john@example.com. Means a user is there. First user have this credentials or this identities, and second user has this particular things. That's ID as to name as Jane Smith example, or email as jane@example.com. No problem. So what they have done up to now, what we have done up to now, we have imported our Express module, we have created the instance, then we have created express.json, call express.json middleware, so that we can parse anything which is there inside the body. Okay. Now let users equals to this array. Now what it is doing? So they have created two arrays in memory users, so that we can have their data with us. As right now we are not able to understand how backend look or how database look, and we are not integrating any database, right? Okay, app.get slash API slash user. Now you have aware of it that this is a method, a HTTP method to retrieve all the resources. So at this particular path slash API slash user, this is a path when a user will go look to localhost colon a port number slash API slash user. So all the user over there will come over here. Okay, understood? That as soon as we are going to click over here, all the users which are there will be shown to us. No problem. Then app.get, okay, slash API slash users with the ID. Now see, there are two users. If you are using this command, if you want to get the resources through this, then how many users will be there? Inside user array, two users are there. So you will get both two users, right? But if I am asking for slash API slash users with ID, if I am mentioning the ID in the URL, whenever I am calling it, then ID is unique. You can see for first user ID is 1, for second user ID is 2. So whatever ID you are providing here, that user will only be come. Okay. Now what is happening through this? A callback function you are using. Through that, what they are doing? Const user equal to users.find. Find is basically a command through which you can find a particular ID or a particular resource. Okay. U is referring to your u.id. What is u.id? Whatever you are passing here the ID. If that is equivalent to parse int request.params.id. Now see, you are passing some ID here. You have passed, if you are going to pass first ID, then it will target John Doe. If you are passing second ID, then it will be targeting Jane Smith, right? But suppose if I as a user, I provided here 3. My in memory array, there are no ID having 3, having value 3, right? So in that case we have to also match that. If you want to have the data for a respected ID, then first of all you have to check that is that a valid ID number which I have given in the URL or not. So that's why they have written the code after it. What they have done, let's try to understand. They are saying that you can pass slash API slash user and a particular ID. Okay, now this ID will be checked that is that the ID which is mentioned here or not. Then only they can show you the data. So u.id is your ID which you have parsed here, and this parse int request.parameters.id. Now what they are saying that uo.id is basically the ID which is there inside your users array. So users array is there. The U is basically representing each index, and in index they are checking that is there any ID at a particular index which is there. Okay, that is the your both ID like ID1 and ID2. Now you are comparing that. You are strictly comparing them with the ID which you have passed here. How? Request dot parameters means in the requested parameters, what is the ID you have passed? What is the ID you have passed? Just make it to integer and then compare it. Okay, because here it will come inside a string format, right? We pass in JSON format, data is in there, comes in JSON format. So from the string part, I want to convert it to integer. So that's why I have used parseInt over here, so that strictly matching is there. So data type must be integer, then only you can compare both of them. So UID is then compared with the ID you have passed in URL, and if there will be such users with that ID, then you will get the user, otherwise you will get that user not found. Hope it is clear to you. Just try to understand that what is happening here. Don't get confused. Okay, you want to match that is there any data of a specific user ID. So what I have to do, if we talk in general, I know that in my array there are only 2 users right now. So to make sure that if user is entering any ID that must be there, then I only get the value. So for that I am writing this particular code. I have already explained you. You can just pause the video. You can see that what I am explaining, that through this they are just checking that in the array ID is exactly the same as the requested ID which is there inside your URL. Then only you will get the data, otherwise you will get that user not found. And that is correct. If I have entered ID3 and with ID3 there is no user, then you should get this output only. So this is correct. So is it clear? I hope it is. Now app.post. Now what we are doing through post, what we can do? Through post, we can create a new user. Up to now only there are 2 users. So if I want to create another user with the ID, then this is the code for it. Let's try to understand it. API slash users means at this particular route, I want to add a new user. How to do it? Const new user. This is my object, what I am creating, ID. ID will be users.length. What is users.length? Users is our array and length is basically gives how many elements are there. So the length is right now 2, right? So 2 plus 1, ID will be 3. See how they have written the logic for providing you ID. Right now there are 2 elements, right? So they are written it there that what will be the arrow size, just plus 1, and that will be the new ID for the upcoming user which you are creating. Okay, what will be the name? That you have to pass in request.body. So that I come to know that okay, while I am doing this post part, I have to pass the body. In body I have to pass a name, in body I have to pass an email. Okay, and then if that will be done, what I will do, I will push that users. So I will push new user, and where it will be pushed to the users array. So that will be pushed now, and you can get the answer accordingly that it has been pushed. Okay, so What I am going to do, I am going to copy this code. I am just copying it. Just a second. Okay. Up to now, we have covered get and post method, right? So I am just showing you that how these two methods will be executed, so that there will be also the practical example for you, that you will get an idea that how these things are working. Then we will move to put, and then finally we will move to our other part. Clear? Okay, this is the code we have copied from there. What we have seen, that there is an inbuilt array which has two elements, and as a user, first of all, I want to get the data for all the users. Then I want data from a specific user, and then I want to see that how can I create a new user. Up to this, we have seen the code up to this 26 or 27 lines. 33, sorry, up to this 33 lines of code. We have seen each and every line. Now comes the implement like execution part. Let's try to execute it. So for that, what I have to do, all of you are now aware that I can handle these post, get, put, delete requests through postman. So I have to go to postman, but before that I have to start this. So it's first of all, change the directory to node.js. Now to execute it, you have to use the command node space index.js. You can like pause the video at your end, then you can just try to go through it. Okay, so don't be get like listen this video at 2x or 1.5x. Just make sure that each and every concept will be clear to you. I know all of you have an idea about it already, but still you can go through it so that it will be more easy for you. Okay, so my API server is running, and this is known as RESTful API. Okay, what is RESTful API? These APIs you are handling with a particular method, and this router. Okay, this is your RESTful API, because you are getting all the idea with the state, with the things mentioned over there. Okay, now what I have to do? We have to move to Postman. So I will come over here in the Postman. I will click on this new HTTP request. As soon as I have clicked over here, this type of interface will come. So first of all, what I have to do? I have to see the get method, all the users. Okay. So for that, I have to paste HTTP localhost, and then I will just change the port number where it is hosted 8080. So 8080 slash API slash user. If I press enter, so are you able to see what I am getting here? Just give me 1 minute. I will just trying to make it looking good. Wait. Okay. So here the data is coming. Just I want it to be much clear. Right now it is not quietly pretty printed. But okay, no problem. See what you are getting. ID1 name John Doe, example John example, and ID2 Jane Smith. For that we are getting. Why we are getting it? Because we have hitted a URL with the get post, and get is basically used for giving us the idea. Now you can connect the dot, whatever we have learned in the previous sessions. Now it will be more clear to you. That's why I have created a separate session on this, so that you can get an understanding of how to use Postman and how to describe all these methods. I have already told you that we are going to cover each and everything just at the right time. Okay, now see, you are getting all the users at this particular port. Now let's try to understand that how we can get it from a particular ID. Okay, because we are using a front end tool. So for getting the ID, what I have to do? I have to mention an ID. Suppose I am mentioning the ID as 2. We have already seen router parameter that if there will be any colon in the path, then you have to pass some value. So same thing I have done. Instead of ID, what I have done? I have added 2, right? What is your URL? You can see slash API slash users, and then you have to pass the ID. Same thing I am doing. I have passed ID 2. Now see the response changing over here. If I press send, uh, okay. For getting the response, I have to basically do it one more time, execute it, and then I have to share it. Okay, I have to refresh it from just a second. Again, I have to open it. Okay, I have to pass the URL, and then if I do send button, You can see I am getting the output only for the object which has the ID 2, only for the resource which has the ID 2. So this is how you can use get method. Okay. Now let's come to post. So for post, we have to select post. Through post, you should uh, remember this thing that you are creating something new. And if you are creating something new as per your wish, then you have to move to the body section to add the details. So go to body. We are inside our body section. Go to JSON format. Okay. Or I can search it from here. Go to body. Go to raw data. See what I have done. I have come to body section. I have come to raw section. And here I will mention JSON part. So how to mention JSON part? First of all, see what are requirements, what we have to pass here. So you have to move to the post part. Here is the post route. What they are asking for you to add something new. They are asking that in requested body, name must be there and email must be there. Okay, these two things I have to add. So I am adding name. It should be in JSON format. So this is the JSON format. Name as bunch and a comma to separate it. And what you have to do, email I guess was there. So make it also like that. Email as vanch@123. Now there is a error because I have not written this question mark over here. So this is something what we have done. I have added these two things. Okay. Now if I enter this send button. Okay, so are you getting it? It is throwing me an error that cannot post at /API/user and then you have given the ID. So that is incorrect because I want to push it to a particular array. And right now this 2 is not a array. You can go check it from here that what should I use as a path. You can see for post what is mentioned /API/user. At this particular route, you can add something new. So just make sure that this is also the same. And now if I do this send button, then it is throwing me an error. Okay, let's try to do it. Internal server error is there. So we are going to execute it one more time. And now I will start it again. I will just cross it. Okay, sometime there will be some internal server issues also. So no problem if that will be such, then you can again open that, again select it, paste the URL. Okay, add the content where you have to add the content in body section, raw data, and then JSON format is basically they have, I guess, selected by default right now. Okay, how to add the data? For that, you have to use something like this. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to mention the name variable with bunch, and now you have to enter email. Is the name is email or email ID? That we have to check. Okay, so it is email. Okay, and we can add email as bunch@123, suppose something like this. Okay, and just make sure you have these key value attributes in string form, in double quotes. Then only it is known as JavaScript object notation, JSON. If I enter send now, then you can see that it is showing me some internal error. So that will be not the issue. Here you can see status quo 500 is coming, that there is no error, but there is some internal server error at my end. So to make sure that these things will not happen at your end, you can try different tools. Like here is another Thunder client method with same type of layout. So I am going to use that in that case. So this is Thunder client, right? So how to done over here? That first of all, select the same method, post method you are selecting. Then you have to pass them the URL. You have to go to this body part, select JSON, and you can enter your code over here. Like name as Vanch, and after that you can enter email as Vanch@123. something like that. This is your JSON format. Now here enter the URL. So what is the URL? The URL is, okay, I will copy this URL and just change it over there. Okay, so here I am entering the URL and the port number for us is 8080, right? 8080 slash API slash users. And if I send it now, just see the response. So you can see 2001 created means your post command is successfully executed. You have inserted a element with the ID 3 having the name Vanch and email vanch@123. Now, if I want to see all the three, then for that to access the resources, we have to just put it to get. And if I send it over here, can you see all the three data are coming over here? So this is how you can check these things, that is the particular route working fine or not. Okay, so are you now getting an idea that how this post and get things work? Just you have to make sure that from here you have to select the method. Here you have to mention the correct URL. And if there is a post, then you have to add something in the JSON body. Now, if I want to search it with the ID 4, as I know that there is no element with the ID 4, so it should give me a message that user not found. So you can see user not found is coming. But as soon as I convert it to 3 and send it again, then you can see bunch with that ID is coming. Okay. So this is how these things work. So just a 2 minute break so that you can also execute it with at your end. And then we are going to cover put method. Okay, both of them are clear to you now. Now put is basically very easy, that how you can update a user completely, or how you want to update a particular user, that I will tell you after 2 minutes. Okay, and then it will be clear to you. Very easy. Just make sure that my postman is not working sometimes, so that's why I'm using this thunder client. So the name is thunder client. Same thing, whatever you are doing through postman, same layout is there. You can see from here you have to select the method from this drop down list. There is the URL, same thing is there in postman. This is the body section, this is your JSON data, and when you send it you will get something like this as output. So clear? Just make sure that you have an idea about it, otherwise everything is clear to you already. And whenever you are going to practice it at your end, then it will give you more idea that how the things are working under the hood. Okay. Okay, now I guess we can start with put. I have tell you there is a difference between put and patch. Put is basically through which you can update it completely. Okay, and patch is something through which you can update partially. Okay, so they are telling you about put. So let's understand about put. App.put slash API slash users. Now, if you want to update, then you have to make sure that what element you are targeting or what user you are targeting. Then only you can update it, right? So for targeting it, they have seen, they have written over here ID. Why? Because ID is different for all the users. So through a particular ID, you will first select a user out of list of users, and then you can update the qualities. No problem. You have selected it. Now, let's try to understand what is written in this line. Users.find means you have to find a particular user with the same ID. U.id is representing the ID of the array user which you have there in your array, and then the ID which is coming through this URL requested.parameters. So suppose if both of them will match, then only you can update it. If there will be no match, then that means the user is not there. So same thing they have mentioned, that if user is not there, then you have to like put the message that user not found. Otherwise, you have to provide them user.name request body.name. So this is how they are updating it. If the user is there, then you have to update username as the name you are passing in the body again, and user email as the name you are passing in email again. Okay, and then you will get the output. So let's try to understand it through running it. Okay, so you can see here is the code for it, the put method. What I have to do, I have to move to this particular URL first. So I will move to my postman. What I'm going to do here, I will select, as we are using put method, so I have to select put method. This is the first step. Then I have to change something. So I want to change the name for the user with ID 1 means John Doe. Okay. What I have to do now? Now I have to move to body part. In body, I have to add the name. So I am giving it updation test. This is the name I want to give it. Updated at the 123 is the name of email. So here I will write updated at the rate 123 so that we can get an idea. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to just hit the send button. Okay, I have sended it. It is showing me the, now you can see it is showing me that ID1 name is updation test and email is updated. If I want to see now all the users, what I have to do? I have to retrieve all the resources. Through get command, I can retrieve it. And get command is working for /API/users. So you can see now ID1 is having name updation test. So you have successfully updated the name from John to updation. So are you getting it that how these commands are helping you to test all these things at your end, that is the data coming correctly or not? So this is how Postman helps a lot. Also, if I want to see it over here now, through basically your browser, you can only see the get method. Okay, so for post, put and delete, it is necessary that you are going to use that you can say your Postman. So if I move to localhost colon 8080 and I will move to the particular path /API slash users, and if I press enter, are you able to see that I am getting this all the you things over here? But through your browser, you can only see the get things. Okay, you can't edit the post part here, you can't do updation thing, you can't delete something from here. So that's why we come to Postman part. You can retrieve the data, you can get all the information from there, but you can't process everything like other methods. Okay, so that's why I have tell you both the methods, that why to use Postman and why we like it is important that you know how to use the Postman. Put part is also done. Now let's come to delete. The name is suggesting that you have to now delete a resource. So resource means that whatever entity is there in your particular in memory or database resources. Okay, app.delete, you are calling the delete route /API/user an ID. Now they are also telling you why this path is mentioned over there, so that you will go to the users array and based on a specific ID you can delete it. It is important, otherwise all the database element will be deleted, right? So we don't have to do that. We have to just delete a particular user. So for that we are targeting a particular ID because ID is unique for each user. Now user index, user dot find index means you have to find that index. For here we are not using only find method, here we are using find index method, so that you can get the index of that array and then delete that index. Okay, so u.id, now you have idea about it, that it is comparing your array element index or array element id with the id you have passed in the URL. If that will be matched, then only you can delete the users. How? User.splice user index 1. Through this, what can happen, that the user will be deleted. So splice is basically a method. User index, suppose whatever user index you have passed, so it will delete it. Like this is the syntax for splice, that how to delete a particular array, or it tells you that from this index up to which number of element you want to delete. So I only want to delete the that element, so that's why I have written 1 over here. Suppose from this index I want to delete 2 elements, then I mentioned 2 over here. Okay, and then you can see rest.json delete that user, so it is deleting it. Or what they have done over here, if I tell you in deep, they have created a splice method. Through this, they are just picking a one element with the same index. Okay, and now that is stored in your delete user array. What they have done, they have created another array with the name delete user. Okay, and they are storing that particular index element which they want to delete in that. And as this, that is the single array now inside this delete user, so they are deleting it by their index value 0, because if one element is there in the array, then that means its index is 0, so they are deleting it. So we can also try to delete it at our end now. What I have to do, I have to move to delete part over here. Okay, I have to mention a particular ID. Now it's up to you that what ID you want to delete. ID1, ID2, ID3. So I want to delete ID1. Let's try to see that it will delete ID1 or not. Okay. Delete is there, ID1 is there. Just hit the send button. You can see it is showing me this particular ID is deleted. Okay. How to check that is it deleted or not? I can hit the get method, and it will now list me those things which are there in the array. So you can see only two elements are there. The value having ID 1 has been deleted. The resource with the ID 1 has deleted. If I have to add it, so now it should click to you that if you want to add something, you have to move to post part. Then what you have to do, you have to move to body part, and then you have to give them some name, and then you can only put it. And now if you want to retrieve the data, you have to select the get command, you have to hit the send button, and now you have these things 233 and something like this. Clear? Again, if I want to suppose delete it, then how can I delete it? Just go to delete, hit the send button. Okay, and after sending, you have to make sure that which element you want to delete. Now they have deleted the ID 3 with the name Vansh. So this is how you can access it. This is how you can do it. Okay. Hope it is clear to you. Design consideration, resource naming, use nouns, not verb, so that you can get idea that what is stored over there. Okay. Hierarchy. Net resource to show relationship. They are telling you that how you can create a RESTful API. So this is basically a good thing that how you can structure your website. Good API structure. That at slash API slash product, this thing will be there. At slash API slash product, this thing will be there. When you are going to create a project at your end, you will see in many tutorials they just create separate folder for middleware, separate for folder for components, so that you can have a structured things. Okay, so we have already seen this APIs now, and then there is controllers models. Okay, so if I tell you about something important, not that much important. This is like testing APIs that you will be learning at your end only. API authentication. So JWT is basic. Now see, why authentication is required. There are two terms, authentication and authorization. Authentication is means that you want to validate if the user who are passing the credential is a valid user or not, right? That comes in the authentication part. And authorization is that all the resources under that user will be able only when you can be a authorized user. Suppose I have my email and a password for my Netflix account, so when I log in, authentication is done. Authentication means that I have having the subscription or not. If I have the subscription, then I can watch all the series for free. Otherwise, not. Okay. So that comes that accessing the resource part, accesses different web series come under the authorization section. Now, session-based authentication, that after a particular session, your password should be regenerated or something like that. Then there is one important thing which is JWT, JSON Web Tokens, that through this you can have how you can just do authorization part. Node.js with front end. So here they are showing you that how they can integrate both front end and back end. But here we are not going to do that. First of all, I will tell you about databases also. Okay. When we will cover, because we are doing MERN full stack. So first I have to cover MongoDB also. Then I will tell you the integration part, that how you can integrate like your database or backend with the front end part. Okay, so that we will come to know about that, and JWT I will tell you in the upcoming sessions that what is JWT, why we are going to use it. Okay, otherwise this Express.js what we have learned, that is important, that how to create your separate server at a particular post, how you can use different types of method, how you can use postman, what is middleware, what are the different type of middleware. We have write the code for authentication middleware also, and for validate user middleware also. So these small things we have already covered, but now like JWT we will come to know in the sessions, or I can do one thing that I will tell you about JWT in short, that what it is. JSON Web Token, basically it is like if you are logging as a user, okay, then your system will not ask for same ID password again and again. For a particular time limit, they just create a JSON web token at their end, and that verifies that are you a correct user or not. So whenever, suppose if I have login in a netflix.com, okay, it is asking me for password for one time only, right? Until and unless I have not logged out. So what should happen, that if I am clicking on, suppose this is like movie nav bar. So suppose I want to watch this movie, I have clicked over here, then this movie first basically checks that, just a second. So this movie first check, just a second. Yeah, so this movie basically, guys, first check that have you the access for it, then only you can do it. Okay, so these things are important. So tomorrow we are basically going to cover about the just give me a second. Okay, sorry for the interruption call, guys. There was call from family. Okay, yeah. So that I was saying that how you can just basically handle these things. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to start with MongoDB. MongoDB is basically your NoSQL, database, which stores the data in document format. Okay, I will tell you that how it is different from MySQL. So as our motive is MERN full stack development, so I am keeping it to that only. I will tell you MongoDB. What is MongoDB? It is important. We use MongoDB a lot because that is unstructured, so you can create it basically as per your convenience. Okay, so we are going to see it over there, and your Express is done. So in MERN, E is done, R React is done, and N Node.js is done. Only M is left. After MongoDB, we will take a session for the integration part, that how we can integrate front end with back end. We just create something at our end, very basic thing, but that will give you immense idea that how you can integrate different things. After that, what we are going to do? After that, we are going to see the deployment part, that how we can deploy something at our end. Okay, so these things we are going to cover. Okay, that is for today. And I hope that everything is clear to you, that how we are using these things, that how put, post, get, and delete things are working. Okay, so yes, now for today we are done. And now we are going to start with MongoDB. So I just want that everyone can install MongoDB at their end. You have to install MongoDB Compass at your end, and MongoDB. Okay, we will see what is that in that only. Okay, so I think that we are now good to just wrap this session. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll connect tomorrow, and we'll cover the MongoDB database part. Thank you so much. Happy learning.